pie chart is probably the first type of chart you ever learned to make. Pie charts are a great way to show how much individual amounts contribute to a whole. Each value looks like the slice of a pie, hence the name. To make a pie chart in Excel, first highlight the data that you want to show up in your pie. This should include what's being measured and how much of it there is. Remember, pie charts can only handle one measurement or value per independent variable. So let's find out how much each item contributed to quarterly sales. In this case, our data is non-contiguous, meaning that the columns aren't next to each other. So we select only what we need by holding down the Control key in between non-adjacent selections. Next, we insert the type of chart we want. So we go to the Insert tab, and here in the Charts command group, there are a bunch of icons. Of course, we click on the one that looks like a pie chart, and we get a drop-down where we'll need to select from 2D pie, 3D pie, and donut charts. Let's go with a classic 2D chart for starters. We click, and now we have a basic pie chart. You'll notice that now that we've created a pie chart, there are two tabs that show up on our ribbon when a chart is selected. These are called contextual tabs, and they're only there for charts, so they go away when we click outside of the chart. Let's drag our chart here so we can see our source data while we're looking at the chart. From the look of things, our chart may need some customization. We can estimate the proportions based on the size of each slice, but a good chart doesn't need lots of explanations. So let's add some elements to take away any ambiguity. Our chart already has a title and it has a legend, but there aren't any data labels. We can't tell the exact value of any of these items just by looking. There are two quick ways to add or remove chart elements. One is from the Chart Layouts command group. And here we can click the Add Chart Element icon, or we can click on the green Chart Elements icon right next to our chart. Another option, the one I prefer, is to use the Quick Layout option. Here under Chart Layouts, there's a drop-down which has a few built-in combinations instead of manually clicking each element one by one. We can hover over each option to see what elements would be shown on our chart. Maybe we can go with Layout 6, where we get data labels, a legend, and a title. We can also rename our chart by double-clicking on the title and typing in the new name. Let's rename it Q1 Sales Revenue. And maybe we want to draw attention to a particular item. What we can do is to explode a single slice by clicking on that slice and dragging it outwards. So here we're emphasizing marker sales. We can make changes to any element within our chart just by clicking on it. Once we've ensured that only that object is selected, we can make changes to color, text, value, or size directly from within the chart. For instance, this chart label, the one for pencils, looks really dark because of the color of the slice. So let's double click on this item. It's the only one selected now, and we can drag it outside. And Excel creates a leader line, so we know that this 18% refers to pencil sales. Maybe we want to add the name of each category so that we don't have to keep referring to our legend each time. Let's click on Chart Elements and expand on the data labels by clicking more options. We do want the category names to show. Something else we can do is to move our chart from this location, from this worksheet, somewhere else. So once our chart is selected, we can click on Move Chart. And right now it's just an object in our stationary sales worksheet, but we can put it in a worksheet all on its own and click OK. These labels are a bit small, so maybe we want to change that. So let's right-click on any one and go to Font. It's 9 right now. Maybe we want to make that 12. And let's just drag each one out to make it visible. If at any time you want to change to another chart type without starting over, just click on the chart and choose Change Chart Type. From here, we can select any of the charts that we want, and we're good to go. Maybe now is a good time to talk about the other pie chart options. Remember, we saw the 3D, pie of pie, bar of pie, and the donut charts. Now, 3D pie charts may look cool, but beware. Because of the angles that are used, sometimes they're a bit misleading because the sections toward the front tend to look a bit larger. The purpose of our chart is to simplify data, not to make it more complicated. So it's usually a good idea to stay away from 3D pie charts altogether. So let's talk about the pie of pie chart. If you have more than 7 categories in a pie chart, sometimes you'll find that some of these categories are so small that you can't tell the difference between that 1% and the 3% slice. The pie of pie and bar of pie charts make it easier to view those smaller values or subsets of data that make up a category. So if we're using pie of pie, what Excel will do is to pick the last 3 data points from your data source to plot the subset pie chart. Now, if the values in your worksheet weren't sorted in descending order, those last 3 data points may not be the smallest ones. You can fix this by sorting the source data in your worksheet from largest to smallest. So let's take a look at our source data. So we look at the sales revenue figure, and it turns out that it wasn't sorted in descending order. The smallest figure, pencils, should be at the bottom. So let's just highlight the data here and choose our sort icon. Our data does have headers, and we want to sort this by sales, largest to smallest. So now we're sorted in descending order, and we take a look at our pie. The last 3 items are 11% in total. We can see how much each item contributed to that 11%. So how about looking at the bar of pie? We just go back to Design, change Chart Type, choose Bar of Pie, and we see the same information represented in bar format. You may choose to use donut charts because they allow you to represent more than one series since they're stacked on top of each other. So let's do that right now. Let's create a donut chart. The inner layer represents the first series, that's January. February is next, and March is the outer series. If you have more than 3 categories, donut charts may not be such a good idea because there isn't enough space to clearly label each category. Let's do a quick layout, and this is what happens. Now, imagine if we added category names here, then we have a really cluttered looking chart because everything is overlapping, and we lose the clarity that we're aiming for. So in this case, a bar or column chart may be your best bet. So, a few reminders for pie charts. If at all possible, make sure that each slice has the category name on the slice, not just in the legend. There usually isn't a good reason for the audience to constantly be going back to the legend to figure out what color is represented. Remember, pie charts are chosen for their simplicity and clarity, so they shouldn't be hard to understand. Download the practice file or make some pie charts of your own.
Ready to learn more about Microsoft Excel? Then check out the full course on GoSkills.com. Click the link in the description.